Good afternoon, folks. This is Ned Reeves from Pavement Group. We're here today to show you our skid-mounted 600-gallon asphalt distributor system. This one here has a 12-foot spray bar system on it. It's powered by a Honda gasoline engine. This particular machine is retrofitted or is fitted with an electric start. It's a belt-driven to our pumping system, which is a Viking HL32 pump. This is our distribution system for the asphalt. Everything comes with a 50-foot hose reel and spray wand. That's standard equipment. The spray bar is an option. It's available in 8-foot, 10-foot, and 12-foot. This is a walk around as far as what the machine has and how to operate it. So for your gasoline engine, actually we'll start here. These are your valve operations. It's a simple chart. It lays out all the valves here in the back of the machine. They're all numbered, and you have 8 different operations: solvent recovery, filling of tank, recirculation, spray bar, spray wand, purge it with air, solvent recovery, and tank discharge. So whatever one of those operations, it tells you exactly which valve you need to have in an open or closed position. On this machine, we have a strainer assembly here with a strainer basket inside. Material that passes out of the tank goes down through the strainer before it enters our pumping system. On the top of the machine is our loading area. It's a double latching lid with vents in it. There's also a vent that runs down through the tank. So if at some point material, you have too much material in the tank and you heat it, when it expands, there's a place for it to go, which is a drain that comes from the top and drops right down through the bottom of the tank and down to the ground. That prevents anything from spilling over the sides of the machine. This exhaust stack here you see at the back end is part of our flue system for heating the asphalt. So we got a Beckett diesel burner over here. It fires down a tube towards the front end of the machine, makes a U-turn, comes back up here, makes a 90-degree, and this is where it exhausts from. This machine also features a strobe light, which is optional equipment. The electric start is an option as well on these machines. Also on this machine here, we have an air-operated valve. And this valve allows the operator from the cab to turn on and off the spray bar system. The spray bar has individual shutoffs for each and every nozzle. On this unit here, these are 1-foot spacings on that because we have a 32-gallon per minute pump on board. We also offer a 60-gallon minute pump, which would be, again, a larger gasoline engine on that with a gear reduction, direct drive to the pump. And in that case, we shift our spray nozzles from 1-foot increments to every 6 inches, all the way throughout the system. Yes, the fob is an optional. So this here, there's an air pump up front we'll show you later that provides the air to open and close this valve. Spray bar is an option on these machines, by the way. It's not standard equipment. Hose reel is standard equipment. These are Hane brand hose reels, 1/2-inch lines. We also have a 3/4-inch version of this as well, which is available optionally. On this side of the machine here, we have our controls for our burner. It's the Beckett diesel burner. You flip it on. That powers up the fuel pump and the fan. And then when you go to ignition, the igniter will come online. But right now we don't have any fuel in the system, so it's not going to fire up for us. Also in the back of the machine, we have a thermometer here to tell your material temperature. And up front there's a digital temperature thermostat, which will turn the heat on and off for you to maintain whatever temperature you're looking to maintain in the system. Here's our mounting system for storage of the spray bar. It has 2 pins in it. I won't bother removing that one. The pin slides out and the bar lifts out of place. There we go. Pop that back into there. This unit is also featured with a optional rate control system, which is looking at via radar your ground speed, and then back there's a pickup for your pump speed, and that goes off to the computer, and in there you put the amount of spray nozzles that you have operational for this shot, as well as your application rate, and it will tell you what the truck speed's supposed to be. And on there in your dash, you can bring up the control panel up front, and you can maintain the correct speed for the application rate you're looking to shoot. Up here, we have our solvent tank, which is for flushing out the system. Here's our Puma air pump. Let me jump over to the other side here. And this is what's going to provide air for the air-controlled valve at the back end for opening and closing the spray bar remotely from the cab. And that can be done via fob and or with the optional rate control system from a switch on the dashboard. Down here we have our diesel fuel tank, which supplies the diesel fuel for the Beckett burn at the back end. And we have a Fleet Guard fuel filter over here with a water separator on it. So all fuel passing from the tank passes through the filter, screens out the water, goes back to the burner, and then the burner, if it isn't operational, calling for heat, is actually circulating fuel back through the system and back into the tank. Need to climb down from here. Oh, and here's a picture of the fob that we use to open and close that rear valve. Also up front, we have a level gauge here to show you how much material is in the tank. You notice at the bottom there's a red zone. That means it's getting low. And at this point, the flues in the heating system are becoming exposed. You do not want to run the heater in this red range, only above that range. We'll leave that alone. See what I'm missing here. So again, at the back end of the machine here, this here's a discharge port, so if you want to offload material into another vessel, a tank, another truck, you can pump material out of here. Here we have a pressure gauge for the system. It tells you what the system pressure is when it's operational. These are our valve banks here. And again, it has arrows on here, which shows you the direction of flow of the material within the system. So for example, here's our intake to our pump. Material enters the pump, exits the pump, goes up to this manifold here. It can go in, and then it can all either go to the hose reel, over towards the spray wand, and or up through the system for discharge externally. Up through here to our air-operated valve, which when it's closed, it recirculates material back to the tank. And when it opens, it shuts off the flow to the tank, and all material passes down through here, comes back into the system, down here, and operates your spray bar for you. Here's our adjusting jacks for raising and lower your spray bar. There's one on either side. That's 10 inches is correct. That's correct. It'll give you be 8 inches off the ground, spray tip ends to the ground, and all the way up 18 inches in this setup. This here line is for your flushing fluid. So at the end of the day, you'll purge the system out with air first and push all the material back into the tank. Then you'll close the valve, which is return to tank. You close the valve that's the supply to the tank that feeds the strainer assembly via the air here, and we purge it back into the tank. At that point, we're able to run solvent through the system. And we'll circulate that through for a couple minutes, get that purged out. If you just finish using a spray wand, at that point you're also going to want to purge out your spray wand and or your spray bar with solvent. We recommend at the end of the day, leave that material in the system, and you'll purge that out next time you go to use the system. This way everything stays lubricated, and any residual oils in the plumbing will have a chance to dissolve due to the solvent. And we'll recover that solvent when we start up the next time around. Water, we don't like water. Water freezes. That's the biggest problem with water. But the system is perfectly capable of pumping water. That's no problem at all. You just want to make sure you purge that out with air, and then we recommend a solvent as well, something that does not freeze in case the climate's too cold. Or you forget about it, and winter comes along, and you end up blowing all your ball valves apart, and or your pump. On this side of the machine, Again, here's our diesel tank for the Beckett burner. We have a switch here. Now this one here has the electric start option. So inside this cabinet here is a battery. So we can either draw from this battery to operate our diesel burner at the back end and also operate our air pump. We have a selecting switch here. That's the charge source, where we're drawing the power from. So in the zero position, it's not drawn from anywhere. Everything's shut down. We can either draw from the vehicle itself off that battery, and or we can switch over and draw off the engine battery, which we use to start the electric engine in back as well as operate the air compressor. Up here is our digital controller, thermostat, if you will. In this here, you'll set your desired temperature. There's a window of about 4 degrees, so once it hits, say, 140, it'll shut down. You'll have to drop down about 136, and then she'll kick your burner back on for you. So you don't have to constantly watch it. You can always keep an eye on it, though. We highly recommend that. It's off. Down below here, this is our overflow tube. So should the material level get too high in the tank, material flow down through the inside of that and exit out of here to the ground. This here is your drain tube for emptying the tank. There's a valve back inside here that you can turn on and off for emptying the contents of the tank. We also have a drain here in case you get water in your diesel tank. You're able to take the plug out, open it up, put a container underneath it, and purge the water out of there. Yes, they are NEMA certified. Waterproof enclosures. Let me turn that back off. Oh, there's a voltage meter here on the front end of the battery box. Turn that back on for you. Any machine that's going to contain a battery, which is typically for starting the engine and or operating the burner, will have a a battery compartment along with a voltmeter on board. Electric start engines, yes, and or auxiliary battery, where instead of having on a trailer unit, typically we're going to draw our power from the towing vehicle. But we can also put an auxiliary battery on board, so if you want to detach the truck to go run an errand or whatever, you can still be warming up your material in the tank via the diesel burner, and we'll be drawing from this battery at that point. Owner's manuals will be located in this box here, in this application. On a trailered unit, it'll be standing up on its edge, which is the same box, and that's where your owner's manuals will be, along with the keys and that type of thing. Whatever accessories you may have ordered with it. Oh, okay. Up top here, we got lifting eyes for the tank itself, which was whatever sub-chassis or even on a trailered model. It'll also have these eyes, but you cannot pick in a V-point, okay, with a single pick. You need a spreader bar, especially on an insulated unit, because what it'll do is it'll bend these eyes in because of the angle of the cables or chains, and it'll end up, bending the eye in and also crushing the insulation. There's 2 inches of insulation on this tank, wrapped with aluminum skin, and if that eye folds in, it will leave damage to your tank. The clean out process, I'll go back up here to our chart. So here's our operation of valves, okay? So we're going to call that clean with air. Basically, we have asphalt in the system, and our valve positions are going to be for open valves. Everything else is closed now. Valve number 3, valve number 4, valve number 5 can be open or closed, but that's going to go with something like a spray bar. Valve number 6, again, can be open or closed. Valve number 7 can be open or closed, okay? And those are the different, again, that'd be like purging out your wand with air, purging out your spray bar with air, and the valve over here would be for drawing air into the system. We're just going to use the pump to do that. And then once those are purged out, at that point, we'll go to cleaning out with solvent recirculation through the system. We'll pump material from a solvent tank through the system. We're not going to return it to the tank. It'll only return back to the solvent tank and or out through your spray bar tips and nozzles and or through your spray wand. And then once you get those purged, you just let it recycle for a little while. It'll all go back to tank, and leave that in the system for the day until your next time you run the machine. So if you're going to recirculate your solvent through the system, you'll have the valves in their corresponding positions according to the chart up top here. What you'll be doing is drawing solvent from the solvent tank, passing through the material pump, and it's going to go through the plumbing system and recirculate back into the solvent tank. Now, if you wanted to purge that solvent out of there, for example, you left your spray wand full of solvent, the plumbing's full of solvent since the last time you used it, you're going to turn off the suction from the solvent tank, and you're going to run basically air through the system. The pump will be turning over, it'll move air, and you're just going to pull your wand out, put it over a 5-gallon pail, open up the valves on it, let it spray into the pail until it starts spitting out, just air and the end of the solvent. And then you flush that system out with air. That material you either pour back into your solvent tank or just put it aside for now, and then you're ready to start pumping material and spraying your job down and making some money. Okay folks, so now we're going to do a cleanup. We're assuming that we just finished shooting for the day. We've used our spray wand and our spray bar. So we want to do it first is, we still have our return to tank valve open, but we're going to close our suction valve from tank. We don't want to pull any material through the system. Instead, we close that right off. Instead, we're going to draw air through the system. This is to purge it out. So this cap comes off here. We're going to open this valve up here. There we go. Start our engine back up. This will purge us back to tank. What it's doing now is drawing all the material from the strainer down through the plumbing, through the pump, by drawing air in. And it's going to take that material, push it all back to tank. We'll give this a couple seconds, then we'll close this valve off so nothing can come back from a tank in case your material level's above that point. Material will want to flow back through your plumbing. It's good enough for now. We'll close this tank valve off. That's return to tank. And now I want to purge out my spray bar. Right now all my nozzles are turned off. So because the machine's sitting on a pitch, I'm going to drain this one first. So I'm going to get my 5-gallon pail out, put underneath the valve. We'll turn our spray bar back on. This valve here will close. Now we're just moving air. And being this is the lowest end, this will get the majority of the water out of that valve bar. And then we'll go back, we'll open up each individual tip all the way through one at a time and finish purging out our materials. So again, we're just drawing air in through the system to purge all this material out. We'll do the same thing with the spray wand. So let me open up the valve for our spray wand. We'll close our spray bar over our spray wand. Valves open, valves open. We'll push the rest of the water out of this system here. Again, using air. Folks, we're spraying water today, so I left the wand on the truck, but if I was pushing emulsion out of here, I'd obviously have off the side of the truck. Okay, so after purging the main plumbing out, back to tank, then we purged our spray bar and our spray wand. And here we've got about, I'd say 2 gallons of water. We did shoot a little bit on the ground, so we're probably looking at about 2.5 in that section of the system that you're gonna have to purge out at the end of the day. assuming you're using both the spray wand and the spray bar. Also remember, if you're going to stop for lunch, purge the system out, because the stuff will settle in the plumbing and the pump during a long break.